Hey everybody! Adam from Team Swish here, and tonight we're joined by a special guest, my friend Al. Hey Al, how are you, man?
Ollie, doing great. Thank you for having me.
For sure, absolutely, man. It's always good to get in some games with friends, and it's been way too long. So
hmm
tonight, Al and I were kind of talking, and we're like, well, what sounds like fun? Al and I kind of been back and forth. We talked about a bunch of really like kind of some combo decks and stuff like that. And so Al said, "You talked about this Madness deck, this 8 wallet deck," and I was like, "Yeah." So Al, can you kind of give us like a little bit of background on like your experience with a shell like this and like kind of where you're coming from?
Sure. So if you recall, when we were playing at Galactic, and this was years ago, it might be even 3 or 4 years ago. Before Benchmark was a thing for Legacy, I was tinkering with it, and my version was a blue, red, green, which I played Careful Study and Faithless Looting as the main this card engine. I wasn't playing breakthroughs that I see in your list here. I wasn't running the LADs either. There were only Baskin Rule Wallace back then. The new Wallace are a fairly recent printing. I wasn't running Gambo or Once Upon a Time, which wasn't really printing at the time, the Once Upon a Times. And Jeff Ravager was not a thing either. So also the Ox that you can play from your graveyard was not a thing just yet. And so my version was running for Noble Hierarchs to be able to push through a little bit faster. The idea was that putting that Faden on online, on turn 2 was kind of the good play there to facilitate the hollow ones, and the beige balance to be in the bin at that point. I was playing one Anger and one Wonder to give them flying, and I was also playing the Street Raids to have a little bit more of an edge, when you're like a card short for the hollow ones. I was also playing the what was it? The researcher. It's one blue from, I want to say, Judgment, and it's one blue, a one-one creature, and you can sack it to draw and discard one card. And so I think it was I can't remember, but it was some researcher.
Hapless researcher,
From
maybe?
Yeah, I think that might be the one. With just one blue for a 1/1 that you can sack to draw and discard one. So it's similar to that vampire that they printed for red. The difference is that the one that you do for red, you have to discard first and then draw, which it's not always what you wanna do. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, the other card that I was running was Deep Analysis. I started with one or two copies, and I thought that the card was so good that you need to run the whole playset. And so that's kind of where I landed in the end. For copies of Deep Analysis, because when you think about it, you don't have any. In my original design, I didn't have any way to recover the card disadvantage that you suffer from when you're running, Careful Studies and Faithless Ludens, because it's not like a normal cantrip like Brainstorm or Ponder or Preordain, in which you're getting the card that you're losing back, despite the on top of the investment of mana that you're putting in. So to kind of circumvent that a little bit, the deep analysis were, in my opinion, a must include. Now this version, it has some benefits that I can, highlight. That are that the Ravagers really give you an edge, because they play very well when you discard them, with the LADs, they can be played out of the LAD, and if you have a Blazing Rule Walla, you can pump it, with that red mana. If that is not the case, you can still use that mana when you're hellbent, to play those deep analysis from your graveyard, or maybe running those, the Ox or any other creature that you can, bring back from the graveyard by casting it through the whatever alternate cost that they have, to bring them back, or play them from the graveyard. So the Coliseums there, it's something that I really didn't consider back in the day. I was playing a time mana base. It was 17 lands as well. I was playing a combination of Taiga, Volcanic Island, and Tropical Island. So those were the non-basics, and the rest were all fetches. I think that I was running 10 fetches, and the rest were dual lands, and I wasn't running any other lands. I wasn't running any basics, and I wasn't running any Coliseums, which maybe in this version, those cards, like the Coliseums might play better. I just kind of think that you want to have the access to the colors that you need when you need them, and that's why I was, leaning heavily on the fetches than I was on any other lands. So I guess to talk about it a little bit. Back when I was testing this deck, it was kind of soft to certain cards like the Blue Moon, back to basics kind of effects. You don't have anything, in the main deck to play against that. Just to touch a little bit on the graveyard or the sideboard, I meant to say, cards that I was playing there. I was playing a combination of Elemental Blast, Pyroblast. I think that I was running a blue Elemental Blast, because of the situation that we just described, of having a way out to combat the Black Moon effects. I think that I was running for Force of Will, but I discontinued the use of Force of Will because even though I had enough enough blue in the deck to be able to support Force of Will, it felt like the cards that you were pitching to Force of Will were necessary for your gameplay, and really where you're going to be stopping unless it's they're winning the game kind of situation. It wasn't really something that you wanted to be playing to begin with. So and then I was playing what's the name of it? It's the one stand that you can pay one red and one colorless Ancient Grudge. I think it's what it was.
Yep.
That it destroys an artifact and then or you can flash it back. So I was playing 2 or 3 copies of that, for decks that were playing Chalice of the Void and things like that, which was Eldrazi, with they were pushing them out very quickly with the Soul Lands in the format, which are the Ancient Tombs and the City of Traders. So and because they rely on Wasteland as well, they can really punish you, for your greedy mana base. 17 lands is not a lot, and I wasn't playing any LADs or anything like that. Although, we had the Nobles. So I guess I'll stop there because I feel like I've been talking a lot, and maybe you want to ask some questions or go through, some of the card choices, versus what I was playing back in the day, and how, the list have been modified, to be able to include the cards that are more recent.
Yeah, so, I think that you kind of touched on a lot of the kind of core fundamentals of the deck. I think that a big shift that happened was with the printing of another Rootwalla. The deck was able to bring down its curve. You had the ability to start getting more aggressive more quickly. You had more 1-drops that would come back for free to bring back Vengevine. So then the game plan shifts and it says, okay, we're going to bring back Vengevine as fast as possible. So how do we make sure that we enable this? So that's where you start looking at cards like Breakthrough. And with the Once Upon a Time, you can make sure that you find the creature spells that you want to hit when you want to hit them. So if you want to, say, discard an Anger to your Faithless Looting, in order to give everything that's going to... You have haste, like, you can Once Upon a Time, try to find the Anger, discard the Anger, and it becomes a series of moving pieces. Now, Lion's Eye Diamond, I think, occurs based on when the deck starts to speed up. When the curve starts to slide lower and the deck starts to speed up, it says, okay, how can I generate more mana more quickly? And you and I were having a conversation where you mentioned Lotus Petal. And I think that that's a reasonable notion, but I think that Lion's Eye Diamond here does a lot of what you need it to do, because it is an enabler for your Rootwallas, your Anji's Ravager, your Vengevine. Like, it's going to put all of these things in the zone you want them in. It's also going to generate mana, which means that, maybe we crack a Lion's Eye Diamond, discard a bunch of stuff, flash back a Faithless Looting, try to flip over a couple of Rootwallas, and go to town. Canadian Hollow one. Thanks, Joe. So yeah, we definitely, I think that the deck has gotten more aggressively shifted. So I think that really that kind of explains the Lion's Eye Diamond, the Breakthrough, the Gamble, extra copies of Anger, and then as it pertains to the other new cards, right? You have Ox of Agonis and Anji's Ravager. So like you said, you were playing Deep Analysis because it was a way to recuperate cards in the mid to late game once you had started to kind of spend all of your resources. Well, now one of your threats is going to do that for you. This one threat is going to say, okay, we're going to keep snowballing even further. Because what's important about Anji's Ravager is that it's not just drawing you cards, it's also making you discard more cards. So if you're setting up discarding more Vengevines and more Root Wallas and, maybe Ox of Agonis, like all of a sudden your 3 or 4 creature board state that you generated from a very proactive turn then shifts into even more board state and even more board state. So, yep. And then finally with Ox of Agonis, this is when kind of everything has ended up in the graveyard and, cracked a couple of fetch lands, cast a Careful Study, so on and so forth. Eventually you have this creature that just red, make a 5/3, and then draw 3 cards. And it, once the game has gone to the mid to late game, you're able to recuperate some more resources there. Now, the last one here is the Cephalid Coliseum, which, to me, this makes a lot of sense. Because what Cephalid Coliseum is doing is saying, okay, I'm in the mid to late game. I've kind of done my thing a little bit. We've cracked a couple of fetch lands, maybe a Lion's Eye Diamond, maybe some Once Upon a Times, and we've kind of started to get things rolling. But now we really want to push the envelope. We really want to just absolutely force it and push this over the finish line. So Cephalid Coliseum is going to, again, serve as another Careful Study or Faithless Looting style effect. That's just continuing that snowballing. We're going to discard some more cards. We're going to make even more board state. Maybe we're going to, again, in the sideboard games, we're going to draw into cards like Firestorm. Where, okay, so we've discarded a couple of cards, but now Firestorm is going to let us clear everything else out of our hand and mop up some other things, maybe deal a little damage, and then now we have the full aggressive path. You did mention the Ancient Grudge, which I think is a thing that you absolutely need in a deck like this. So Grudge is going to let us clean up Grafdigger's Cages, and now with Urza Saga being a card that's basically everywhere, you have to worry about things like Soul Guide Lantern and other artifact-based graveyard hate permanents. Pyroblast, of course, just kind of lets you fight against maybe things like Murktide Regent that would be able to race you back. Things that are big enough and scary enough in a small amount of time to really kind of put the pressure to you. Lightning Axe going to be for your hate bearers, right? Your Either Sworn Canonists and things of that nature. This is funny to me because I saw this and I went, okay, hold on a minute. This is great. Because what Memory's Journey does in this deck is 2 separate things simultaneously. So, for example, Memory's Journey is anti-surgical extraction tech.
Exactly.
But, at the same time, Memory's Journey is also Doomsday Hate. So, when your opponent goes to make their Doomsday pile and cast their Thassa's Oracle and kill you that way, in response to the trigger, you Memory's Journey, put 3 cards on top of their library that was previously empty, and now their Thassa's Oracle no longer wins them the game.
Yep.
So that's a very flexible, interesting slot here that I quite like. And then obviously Chain of Vapor to clean up any other thing that you might have trouble with, right? Like a Rest in Peace or a Leyline of the Void or something that's creating complications with things that need the graveyard, like a Vengevine or an Ox of Agonis. So that'll make some sense. Again, Gamble, I think, is a card that has a lot of utility here, right? So maybe I'm looking for a specific creature that a Vengevine, a Root Walla, what have you. Something that I do want to discard. We can gamble for it. maybe I'm looking for a Lion's Eye Diamond to fuel a particularly explosive turn. Well, most of my deck, Ravager, Rootwalla, Vengevine, Anger, I don't care if I discard it. So if I have a hand full of other things and I cast a gamble looking for a Lion's Eye Diamond, I'm way more likely to discard something that I want to discard than something that I don't. So I think that's a pretty interesting little kind of package there. So I guess you had mentioned some of the card choices. Again, Once Upon a Time being a new edition here, this just finds so many pieces of the puzzle. This is going to find Rootwallas when you need to trigger a Vengevine. It's going to find a Vengevine when you need Faithless Looting Fodder. It's going to find a hollow one when your opponent has put, a Grafdigger's Cage into play, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to, Careful Study and Faithless Looting, and then put a 4/4 into play. And now you have to answer this. So I think that Once Upon a Time kind of serves as a way to find whatever piece of the puzzle is missing in that moment. And it is exceptionally good because if it's in your opening hand, it's free. Yeah, you just find, you look at an opening hand and you see, okay, this is a wild card. This could be any missing moving piece. So I like that quite a bit. I think you mentioned having fewer Angers in your original list, and
right.
I don't know. Like, a Wonder seems pretty great. I'm not gonna lie, but I also understand that this version of the deck versus what you were playing, this version kind of wants to do its thing on like turn 1 or turn 2. Whereas your deck was usually taking a couple more turns to set up. This deck is much more explosive, and I wonder if that's why Anger becomes such a key part of the puzzle, because they want to go so quickly that by giving everything haste, we're going to push more damage faster.
Yeah, I guess, I want to touch on that a little bit. So one of the problems that I noticed with the deck, version that I was playing was that you really needed to go very fast, and
Yep.
you kind of needed to be winning the game on turn 3, right? Because otherwise there are other combo decks that are faster than you are,
Right.
or they have a way to lock you out of the game, if you give them the time. And that's why I was trying to play like the strip rates and things that would give you a little bit of gas, just by trying to force the amount of discards that you need to get the hollow one into play. Same thing with the researcher, in blue. So I to your point, I think that LAD and the Ravagers are going to be the MVPs of this list, without having tested it or anything, just by looking at it. The gut feeling is that those two are going to be, the bread and butter of the deck, the key to facilitate what you need to achieve. And to your point, when I was playing with Dark Faden, even though that, has other benefits like stealing equipment, from Death and Taxes and things like that, or maybe stealing a hollow one from an opposing deck, the fact that Anges is a creature, then you can you're triggering your Benchmine with Anja, which you couldn't really do with with your Dark Faden activation. So I guess to that point, it might not seem like something very relevant, but I think it might be. Because sometimes you didn't get the mass that you needed to bring the Benchmine from the yard. And I think that having both the Ravager and the new Wallace, the red ones, I think that those two cards are going to help with those triggers more than you would think otherwise.
Oh, I absolutely agree. But yeah, I mean, so I guess. Was there anything specifically you saw that you kind of wanted to change? Like, thinking this over. So like,
So I wasn't very sold on the Once Upon a Time, but I see what you're saying. The first one is free. The further iterations, is 2 mana, and I think that the mana is kind of tight in this deck. So I'm not quite sure. I haven't really played with the cards, so I cannot really attest one way or another. I'm kind of conflicted about that card choice. Breakthrough is another one because that's a 3 mana card really. So it's kind of competing with other things that you're trying to do at that cost. Like maybe casting your Ravager or something. But I haven't really tested the Breakthrough.
Sure.
So maybe in this version, because you have more Wallace and whatnot, it might be a good choice. You're also running more copies of Anger, which you want to make sure you have in your graveyard. So perhaps it's the right number, to have a couple of them and just play them for 1 blue and pitch everything else, But I guess my thought was, well, if you're trying to do Breakthrough and then cast the Angi's Ravager, that's what 4 mana, to be able to do that. So, or 3, in the most aggressive scenario.
right.
So that's a turn 3 play really, unless you have some other accommodation, and that's why I was thinking maybe the Lotus Petals, might be a good inclusion.
Well, and so in that particular situation, right, like that's where cards like the Lion's Eye Diamond shine, because once you've cast Breakthrough for 1 and discarded your entire hand, with those Madness triggers on the stack, you start cracking the Lion's Eye Diamonds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then the Lion's Eye Diamond pays for the Angi's Ravager, and that kind of, I guess that's the thing, is that cards like Breakthrough let you be that much more explosive. That's what, say, lets you get out there on turn 1 and say, okay, we're going now. I'm going to play my land, I'm going to cast a Breakthrough. And we're going to see what happens. Like, I'm going to discard, Root Wallas and Vengevines, and we're going to go for a ride. And yeah, like, I think there are absolutely going to be times where you're going to cast a Breakthrough, and there's going to be something that you said, man, I wish I had the mana to cast that. But I think that there's going to be an equal number of times where you play a Breakthrough and you just conjure up, 3 or 4 creatures out of the one Breakthrough. And that's the ability to high roll, I think, is what this deck really relies on. That you're kind of abusing the London Mulligan here. You want fast, broken starts. So in order to have that, I think that you need cards like Breakthrough, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Once Upon a Time to enable more of those faster, broken starts. And like, another thing about Once Upon a Time that we didn't touch on is that where that card really shines is not necessarily when it's finding the creature, it's when it's finding the one land that maybe you don't have because you're only playing 17.
Mm-hmm.
So in those situations, we end up just kind of, okay, Once Upon a Time, find the mana source. The mana source casts the Breakthrough. The Breakthrough discards, a Vengevine, an Ox of Agonis, and a couple of Root Wallas. And that's where we start to go to town, and that Ox of Agonis will hang out until a future point when we need it.
Yep. Yeah, and to your point, I think that I saw some version of this deck, for Vintage, and they were using Once Upon a Time to find the Bazaar.
Yep.
Despite having all of the mulligan advantages and also playing the powders,
Yep.
To do further, have further chances of getting the cards that you need. So yeah, I guess we can go with the stock list if you you feel that it's solid, and we can kind of experiment with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a ton of experience with the deck list, and this is not for those watching. This is not my usual forte. I'm usually the one hating graveyards, not filling them. So I really don't have a ton. All of my input is based on other people's play lines that I've watched and kind of the theory behind of a lot of this, but I don't necessarily have the experience. So if, I guess you said that the cards that you're you're looking at are the Once Upon a Times and then the Breakthroughs. If we were to change any of those 6 cards, what would you want to change them for?
Well, personally, I like the deep analysis still because if you were to get held down, at some point, you can still use the LED mana to cast the deep analysis from the graveyard. It also gives you some more cards that you can pitch without being too hurt about it. In fact, you probably want to pitch those. So I feel like having a number of copies of deep analysis in the deck, is a good idea.
Okay. So maybe like cut, say, Breakthrough for something like that.
And that can be.
And then, so I guess the weird one here is Once Upon a Time, because Once Upon a Time does find so many moving pieces. I'm wondering how we replace something like that can find us the land in our low land count deck. It can find us, the payoff. It can find us one of the enablers. So I'm not really sure how to replace that, but I'm willing to hear you out for sure.
Yeah, I keep going back to Lotus Petal because I just kind of feel that having that extra mana in the beginning, without having to commit to discarding your whole hand, it can be beneficial. It can give you the extra leverage that you need to play maybe both a Faithless Looting and a Careful Study on turn 1, and that make sure that you're going to be playing your Hollow Ones for free, and but ensuring that you're going to be pitching quite a few of the cards that you're looking to put into your graveyard as soon as possible. But maybe I'm being too optimistic about the card choices here, but I kind of like Lotus Petal on a chart like this, just because of the value that you can get out of the acceleration. Plus, if you are committing to sacrificing the ladies, you still have the mana on board by keeping the Lotus Petals there. So
okay. So I mean, would you replace all 4 with Lotus Petals, or would you only cut a couple? Like, where's your
I'm not sure. So here's my take on this card. This card, you either go all in, I think, so that you ensure that you have one of the 4 copies, in your opening hand, or you just kind of dismiss it all together and go with the alternate plan. I don't know that having less than 4 copies is the way to go. So we either test the Once Upon a Time as it is, and hope for it to yield and bear fruit, or we go with the other choice, which is just having more fast mana at your disposal.
I mean, and with you being the guest, Al, I'm going to default to your expertise here. Would you rather play 4 Once Upon a Time or 4 Lotus Petal?
I would play Lotus Petal.
You got it. So there's 4 Lotus Petal. So we're saying this is the deck as we would play it. Does that look about right?
It looks good to me. The other card that I'm not a fan of is Gamble. Okay. Gamble is kind of one of those cards that it's a little bit too ballsy for me. It's
okay.
It kind of reminiscent a little bit of cards like Demonic Consultation and things like that have a tendency to buy me.
Sure.
But I don't know. Maybe I would replace that Gamble for a 3rd copy of Deep Analysis personally. But
I mean, we can. That definitely makes some sense. I can see that. So we can bring in another Deep Analysis, and then cut the Gamble, and then something a little more like that.
Yep, that looks very solid to me. That's something that I would personally play. Not that gives it much stock, but just saying.
That's fair. And how do we like the sideboard? So with the notion that Meltdown is going to deal with the construct tokens from Urza's Saga, it's going to beat Chalice of the Voids. We have Ancient Grudge to do very similar things. Pyroblast for things like Murktide Regent or a Force of Will on a key turn. Lightning Axe for the Hate Bears. Firestorm as kind of a catch-all answer that we can kind of mop up a few different things, maybe deal a little extra damage to our opponent. Chain of Vapor to deal with the bigger kind of hate pieces, and then Memory's Journey as anti-surgical, anti-doomsday tech.
Yeah, that looks all very good to me. I especially like Firestorm, as a choice because it just takes care of a lot of things, to your point, the Hypers, from Death and Taxes, but it also does a number on things like Elves, and I like, a card that would give you, it would contribute to you discarding what you need to discard, but also, wipe the floor a little bit, of certain threats that go wide. So,
Sure.
So yeah, I like it.
Okay, cool. So with this kind of as the plan, everyone give us just a minute here. We're going to get this all queued up. We're going to rent the deck, and we're going to hop into a league. So everyone stay tuned. We will be right back. All right, everybody, and we're back. So we have constructed our deck list. For anybody just tuning in, we are playing a modified version of Rug Madness. So we have the 4 Careful Studies, Anji's Ravager, Blazing Rootwalla, Faithless Looting, Basking Rootwalla, Anger, Vengevine, Hollow One, Ox Vagonis, Lion's Eye Diamonds. We have cut the basic mountain for a second Taiga, cut the Once Upon a Times for 4 Lotus Petals, and we have cut the 2 Breakthroughs and the 1 Gamble for 3 copies of Deep Analysis. And so that's where we're at. Let us get this started. John, how are you? John, thank you so much for the sub. Really appreciate it. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Al and I are gonna play some Madness tonight.
There you go.
Yeah, non-matching LEDs indeed. That's not the only tilting thing. Our tropical islands are a mess. It's sometimes you're at the whims of the rental gods, and they're not kind. All right. Well, we lost the die roll. That's not usually a good start.
It is not.
Okay. This isn't terrible.
No.
Gonna keep. This Careful Study is gonna discard Vengevine and Deep Analysis?
I think so, yeah.
Grab Volk. Our opponent isn't sure whether or not that they're okay with this.
I guess they could probably daze it and call it good, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Tropical Island. Brainstorm. Okay. This might be the Bant control deck.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Vengevine. Deep Analysis. So then next turn we just fire off another Careful Study. We're trying to discard 2 Rootwallas, get back this Vengevine.
Right. We can pay the extra for the Hollow One.
Yeah. Yep.
Just with the next land drop. So we pretty much ensure that we're bringing the Vengevine back no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, we also just have this Faithless Looting, which is not a terrible life to be living.
Yeah. That gives us a solid next turn, to discard the Ravager and play for the Madness cost.
So I think I'm going to pitch Foothills. We're going to pitch the Rootwalla.
Yep. Then we crack that for a Tropical Island and play, or a Taiga, whatever you prefer.
Probably, yeah, I think it's got to be the Taiga. We'll take the Taiga. I think we'll just cast the Faithless Looting.
That's right. Yeah, it gives you a little bit more of an edge. I was kind of looking for the next turn to play the Ravager with the Madness cost, but we're gonna have the land count to do the
And then we found the Vengevine. So
right.
now this is
So
free.
yeah, that's free
Double
and that triggers.
Vengevines.
Yeah, let's see.
Jam for 8. Yeah. So, aren't gross enough to be cool? Sure, sure. So, our opponent's on a pretty quick clock here. They have to start assembling something.
Right.
We could literally just start pumping
On the
Rootwalla.
yeah,
Yep.
depending on what they play.
Deal.
Yeah, that's very good for us.
Actually, hold on a minute. I think we'll just play the Taiga. We'll bash this turn. Then next turn, if we want, we can try to crack Cephalid Coliseum.
Right, to go deeper.
Yeah, well, and to discard the Soundji's Ravager that we can then Madness.
That too. Yeah.
So there's Taiga. Sure. Yeah, this, I mean, Swords to Plowshares on 2 Vengevines feels like it should be good, but it doesn't really... It's not looking great for our opponent.
Right, they've already spent 2 of them, so, you know, with they'll have virtually 7 damage on board. So.
Right.
That makes it so they can, you know, get an extra card with their library too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Can they afford to take extra cards with library though? Given that we.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
You know, now that we have 7 on board, not really, but.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the crux of it all, right?
Right. Even if they had another Swords, I guess what I was trying to say is that they, you know, they are really not in a good position to do that.
There's Wasteland. Is this Uro? This is Uro. Sure. I think them not Wastelanding us is going to be a pretty big deal here.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. Well, that's happening.
Yeah, that's fantastic right there.
That's, I think, about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Lion's Eye Diamond. Coliseum.
Well, do you... Well, I was gonna say, did we want to crack the LAD first, you know, to see, and then we can still pump the Rootwalla, you know what I mean?
Well, so I kind of want to save the LED, because the game plan, obviously, is going to be discard Ravager, discard Rootwalla, probably this land that I don't think we care about.
Right, we don't.
So then we can use the LEDs to cast Deep Analysis and things of that nature.
Yep. And we can play or do both of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cast. Because what I think we're looking for right now is Anger. So I think the game plan here is Cast another Lion's Eye Diamond.
Mhm.
Crack this for blue. Careful study. And there it is.
Excellent.
Actually, we just have another Anji's Ravager too.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just do that, and we have red, and you can pump the Walla, the red one. with
Right,
the
right.
extra. And unless they have what's the name, Terminus or whatever.
Yeah, but they don't even have a way to draw into it, right?
Right, unless yeah, that's true.
Discarded another Anger. Yeah.
And they found the third sword. It's
I mean, they're still taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
yeah, they're at one. Well, we can play the hollow one if you want.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So, yep. So I'm going to play the pedal first. Not that I think opponent has days, but it's free to play around there, so we might as well.
Right. And we still have, some deep analysis to refuel if
Right.
we wanted to. Although with the two Ravagers, there, I don't think that we even need to. But
No, I think we're pretty safe.
yeah,
Yep. It's the one card they could have was Terminus, and they didn't reveal it. So
Right.
cool. So what are we possibly
Well, we
pirate?
haven't- right. I was gonna say we haven't really seen much of what they are trying to do.
So-
and I don't know what we would really want to take away to make a space for that. Maybe we trim a number of Lotus petals, just to ensure that we have something for their shenanigans.
Right. I mean, we could. So I think that the cards that they could have that would be the scariest are Uro and Endurance. Uro because it is a large creature that is hard for us to punch through, that also gains them life. Endurance because it's going to clear out the resources that we do build up in our graveyard.
Right, and it kills all of except for the hollow ones, it kills everything that we have.
Right.
So,
Yeah, Hollow One and even Oxyvagonus would die to it. So, yeah, I think that Uro and Endurance are the two cards that we're remotely concerned about.
right.
But, yeah, I think that we can cut 3 Lotus Petals, bring in 3 Pyroblasts, and I don't really see anything else that we necessarily need.
Yeah,
So-
unless you wanted to do some lightning axe or something, but
I don't even
you know,
think Lightning X is going to be that great. Like, the cards we're worried about usually have larger toughness, so I think we're pretty okay.
and they have flash or whatever, right? So
Right.
yeah.
So, it's again where we just try to aim for the high roll and kind of get out underneath them. Again, thank you everyone for joining Al and I tonight. We really appreciate it. Okay. So,
This is a tricky one because we don't have
A
either
discard.
Faithless
I think-
Looting or careful study.
yeah, like, it has a lot of the cards we would like to see, but with no
Right.
way to get them in the zone we want them, and I think we have to mulligan.
Yeah, I would say so.
This one, on the other hand, looks spectacular.
Oh yeah.
So I think that the one card I want to put away is Hollow One,
Yes.
and then we're just going to go absolutely bananas with the Lion's Eye Diamond and
Yep. And a turn one bench mine.
We'll play the Volcanic Island because then we have Careful Study as backup if we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. They're looking for it again.
Yeah, this I'm not a fan of these brainstorms that our opponent is playing.
Yeah, I think
It's really not the best use for brainstorm. I guess is what I'm trying to say. When you're putting
when you're
two
locking
back and
yourself.
you don't have a way to shuffle them. I don't know. Feel kind of tricky, but
I mean, I understand the notion though. They feel like they have to dig for an answer to this.
right. Or I'm assuming that they're looking for a force of will. But,
I agree. So then I want to cast this Careful Study now to see what else we find. What do you think?
Yep. Yeah, we found another Ruwala, so that is good. I would
Discard. Cast. Crack for red. Yes. Okay. Always the old. Cast. Pump because we can.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are some very explosive, turn one turn 2 that we've been having. So this is looking pretty good.
Yeah, and I think like that's why cards like the Lion's Eye Diamond are so good in this new shell, is because you do just have these absolutely outrageous turn ones.
Yeah, it's force of will or bust really,
Pretty much.
or days I guess. Depending on how we are playing, but
Right. Prismatic Ending? This feels as though it might be Prismatic Ending. It is. Okay.
yeah, but they lost the one drop to kind of slow us down, and sure we cannot pump the Blazing Ruwala now, but still we're attacking for 8, so. And we can pump well, I guess never mind.
Right.
It's a tropical island, but we can still play the Ruwala.
So there's the Anji's Ravager gone.
Those hollow ones are starting to look very juicy with that Cephalic Coliseum there. All right.
I agree. We just have to get a couple more cards in.
Yeah, exactly. We're a little shy of threshold, but maybe we play the Ruwala after we attack just to have an extra damage. But
I can see that. Yeah, we can just play another Root Walla. My thought process was the ability to cycle a hollow one.
mm-hmm.
Because then if we cycle a hollow one, get a fetch land, then that turns on Cephalid Coliseum.
My thought was they have to kill. Well, it doesn't matter, but we can pump the Green Ruwala. So even if they got a Sword to Plowshare, for the benchmark, we will still be able to deal lethal damage.
Yeah, opponent agreed that it was all gravy. So there's a 2-0. We are on the board, and yeah. And again, I think that you're definitely right. There was my notion was fueling Cephalid Coliseum, which could have been very reasonable, but would not have guaranteed the kill the following turn. Yours guaranteed the kill, but I guess where my head was at was how do we account for a blind Terminus?
Right. Yeah. That would be bad news right there, because at that point that's when we rely on the Coliseum to refill and get those um, uh, the hollow ones into play, or at least one of them. And with a low life total like the opponent had, Jack one might be enough. We wouldn't necessarily need the two, but
Right. John, I really appreciate you gifting subs. It means a lot to me. Like, it really, really means a lot. So thank you so much for gifted subs. Of course, Greg isn't even here, and Chris is almost never around. But I appreciate it. All right. Tommy's Slivers. What do you think the odds are? Silvers. There we go. Okay, so this is pretty reasonable, actually, right? This is turn 1, fetch land, do nothing, untap, second land, loot, pedal, looting, get both of our creatures.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah, we're not revealing what we're playing right away either, so I kind of like that.
Ah,
Oh,
Reanimator. I see.
well.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
did they beat to the unmask? Just out of
they
curiosity.
exiled Archon of Cruelty,
Okay.
which I mean I'm okay with. That's one of the scariest things they could put into play. So
Right, yeah, I was gonna say a 6 flyer, that shenanigans, and this, well, it kind of forces you to discard cards, which might be good for us, but
sure,
yeah,
sure.
still a 6/6 to beat.
Yeah, it making us discard cards is good. It making us sacrifice creatures is bad.
Yeah, that's bad news.
Oh,
Well, that's interesting that they took the Ravaging instead of
I
the
mean, they
Fatal
knew we
Bloom,
couldn't
but,
cast
I
it,
guess-
so. All right. Is opponent just gonna do nothing? That would be. What a wild and crazy ride we're on. Rude.
Yeah. They might be thinking about maybe doing a Thoughtseize on top, or
So now, with where we're at, do we just cast this Faithless Looting?
it's a tricky question. I think that we have too many lands.
And that's
so
that's kind of why I want to cast the Faithless Looting, to try to find cards that matter.
I would, yeah.
So
I'm kind of concerned about that blue mana open, but there's not much that we can do about that. So.
Right.
Oh, we're looking good there.
Well,
guess
we get
we-
one of them this turn. We have the Lotus
Well,
Petal.
we didn't. Oh, yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the Lotus Petal. We just get one this turn.
hmm
Rootwalla, Petal. Cast. Blue. Alright.
Maybe we have discarded the tropical island instead of the fetch, because that way, we would ensure to have one extra card in the graveyard. I don't know that that's going to be relevant or not, but for that Cephalic Coliseum, it might be.
Sure. I mean, that's fair, I suppose. Uh-oh. Opponent has entombed an Archon of Cruelty.
Well, that's probably a reanimate. Oh, Thoughtseize. Okay. Well,
I mean, sure. There goes the hollow one.
we're still attacking for 7 this turn, so there is. So we have a Careful Study. I don't know if we want to start with that and see where we go.
Maybe?
All right. Well, now the question is: do we discard the Careful Study and the Lotus Petal and just count on the Coliseum going the extra mile?
I think so.
Or-
I think Coliseum is gonna do what we need it to do for the most part.
Right, and it's an extra source of mana, so we're probably good there, and then we pump the Rootwalla.
Yeah.
And they are at 11, which if they try to reanimate anything, it's gonna bring them down to a level that, it's dangerous.
Correct. I think that we've put enough pressure on them. This might be, animate dead. Okay.
So it's when it enters the battlefield or when it attacks, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
That's not the situation we were hoping for, but
Yeah.
so
Well,
they're gonna reanimate dead our Anji's Ravager.
oh shit.
I mean, yeah, that's a wild one.
Well, that anger comes a little bit too late, I suppose. But I'm just trying to think of our way out of this one, and we cannot even cast a Faithless Looting from the graveyard because we're 1 mana short.
Right, and so the thing about that is, I don't know that that's actually a deal breaker, because they're gonna make us discard this anger, and then all we need to do is draw a mana source of any kind off the top.
Right.
I mean, I think that I'm willing to wait it out.
So if they attack, we're gonna have to sacrifice the Hollow One. If we attack into it, we're gonna lose it anyway.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty safe to just let it ride.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
It's interesting that it was Animate Dead versus, Exhume or something that would give us an advantage too.
Right.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I will say that I was hoping for certain that it was Exhume, but it was not.
Yeah.
I also don't think that if opponent ever drew Exhume in this matchup, they would not be casting it.
Yeah, because we put a 4/4 into play. I mean, it's not as good as theirs, but
they're thought seizing themselves. Oh, taking the Ashen Rider. Okay, well that's unfortunate.
And they did have an Exhume. They just happened to get the animated as well.
I think we just cycle this, right?
I think so. Yeah, just for giggles and see where we go from there.
Because we're looking for a mana source, which that is not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say that we're pretty toast.
Yeah, I think that we're taking lethal, but
yeah, the fact that they had the animate dead instead of Exhume, I think that was their providential
right.
Way out.
So I definitely want the Chain of Vapor.
Yep.
Chain of Vapor feels excellent here. I also like Memory's Journey.
I do, yeah.
So the next question, I think we're cutting Deep Analysis, right? I think this is not the measure.
It's a lower, yeah. And I don't know, I kind of feel like the Ox is very slow too.
Alright, well, there's the anger. Yeah, so cut the 1 Ox and the 3 Deep Analysis for 2 Chain of Vapor, 2 Memory's Journey. I like that.
That sounds good to me.
Perfect. Yeah, and then we're just trying to race with very light reaction on our side.
Well, if we have Faithless Looting now, and we have an anger.
I mean, I don't hate this. Like, we're gonna go first. We're gonna looting. We can discard the Root Wall. We can discard the anger.
Mm-hmm. I would say, we just for the sake of filling up the graveyard, I would play one of those fetches. It also reduces the amount of lands that we might be able to draw. Just by a tiny fraction.
Sure.
And maybe get a Taiga and do the Faithless Looting.
Off that, yep.
Pumping the Root Wall later on.
Yep, I like that. Taiga. Looting. Okay. I don't, I'm pretty okay with Lotus Petal and another land here.
Mm-hmm. And then, next turn...
I think I'm going to cast that now, just to get it out from underneath anything they might have to offer. Yeah, and then next turn we're just We could just
can
cast
hardcast-
Ravager.
We can hardcast the Ravager,
Yep.
you know, and then we have the backup plan of having the Faithless Looting to draw into some hollow ones, you know, since we seem to be a little bit land heavy on hand.
Right. Entomb.
And that's the thing with Reanimator, you know, they go so fast. It's
Right.
very hard to compete with that speed, even with all of the extra mana acceleration that we have.
Reanimate the Archon. Yes.
Yeah, and that busts the rule well, unfortunately.
Right. Discard that Volcanic.
Yeah, we just don't have a good way to, you know, to deal with those kind of creatures. Maybe the black version, you know, instead of the blue version would be better for that. But
So, if we cast this Faithless Looting, is that...
we cannot play the hollow one because we're only discarding 2 cards.
Well, so, and that shapes up a lot depending on what comes off, right? If we peel something like a Lion's Eye Diamond, that will let us... No? I guess it won't.
I mean, the thing is that we cannot really wait. So, you know, I guess we try for it and hope for the best.
So actually,
I will stick.
now here's another thing we can do. We can just let opponent attack us with Archon and use it to discard Anji's Ravager and then madness it on their turn because of their trigger.
Yep, that looks pretty good. And you know, because they already attacked, then we don't have to sack it. So that's pretty good. I would say we can hope for that, and at least we get 3 damage chain.
Well, and then we also get to look at some cards and...
Right, and because of that, you know, we get 3 new cards.
Yep, so now opponent has to respect that we have a clock and this going on. Not interested in blocking, that's for sure.
Right. Well, we can't, right?
Agreed. But even if we could, I don't think we were interested in the idea.
Right.
Okay. There's another Archon. And a reanimate to... Oh, rough.
Yeah, that's bad news there.
Yup.
Well, we got the LAD, so we can play the Faithless Looting. Then, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, we can play the Faithless Looting with the mana that we have on board.
Right. I think that we still cast the LED, though.
Right, we do, so that we can see what we can do after that. But I mean, we're so far behind.
Right. We have to create quite a board state in a very short amount of time. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to cut it.
Yeah, it doesn't, because we're 1 mana short to be able to cast the hollow one.
Right.
Despite all of our loot spells.
Well,
Oh, well.
we found our Bane, and it's Reanimator.
Yeah. You know, that's a very tough matchup because they have features that are way bigger than ours, and that new printing, you know, is pretty tough. But even if they were playing like LS Norm or whatever, you know, we would be also in a world of hurt. So
I like this a lot.
yeah, this one is very good because we have multiple ways of cycling through cards, and we have a bench finder and a deep analysis to dig deeper. So
And I think that I want to fetch a Trop with this Scalding Tarn.
yep.
Because I think this way, if we lose that, we just don't particularly care.
Yep. Well, benchmark and deep analysis are looking good, and then we can go for the faithless looting or careful study, you know, next turn.
Right,
And,
or both.
or both. Yeah, and hopefully we can find another Rubwala or better yet,
Vengevine
some
or
hollow ones.
yeah,
Yeah,
all of the above.
and an anger would be just the icing on top, right? That'd be fantastic. But,
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset about that notion.
mhm. So these guys are maybe playing, what we're playing.
Whoa,
But
Mayhem Devil. Oh, okay.
well, this is new.
Yeah, this is okay. I'm not sure what's going on right now. Is opponent just playing Jund Food? Cabal Therapy. Resolves. What is opponent naming? This is interesting.
Yeah.
Careful. Okay, you named Careful Study. Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
It kind of dampens a little bit our speedy speedy ways, but hopefully the faithless looting and the flashback, will be enough.
Yeah, I think that we have a pretty high ability to make something happen here.
Oh yeah, some hollow ones there.
So I think we want to discard this Rootwalla, this Volcanic,
Yep,
and then cast Looting.
I think so. Yeah, of the pedal.
Yep. Cast this.
So as you can see, I think this kind of kind of shows or showcases, the need for that acceleration that the Lotus pedal gives you.
Sure.
I just kind of feel that it gives you the little edge that you need so that you don't have to wait an extra turn to line things up.
Yeah, that's fair. I've not been mad about it. Oof. Okay. That's unfortunate.
Quite a bit.
I mean, we're still gonna get our hollow one, but man, that's rough.
Yeah, getting rid of the Rootwallas. I mean, it's does it do? It puts it at the bottom of the library, though, right? So.
Dang. Yeah, it does put it in the bottom of the library. We're gonna have access to it again.
Right, we're gonna cycle all of the discard engine as well. So I'm not too sad about it. I mean, it kind of sucks, but we have 7 on power, virtual 7 on power on board.
Uh-oh. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. There's one of those janky decks that, I don't think that you will expect to find that often, but I guess it is what it is.
I mean, Nick Fit has started to regain some popularity again recently. You just gonna trade it off? Yep, seems right. Yeah, no point. Okay. Yes. Hey, look, I have no basics. I'm gonna shuffle all those cards you put in the bottom of my library back into my library. So that's the benefit there, is we got all of our cards on the bottom. Yeah, everything's shuffled back. Yeah. Opponent still hasn't... Oh, there's the red mana. I was like, opponent still hasn't shown us the red mana to cast this thing. But also, okay. I mean, yeah. Deal.
Excellent.
Just like we drew it up.
That's just beautiful because we can build the Vengevine and that, and we can flashback the deep analysis right now and get a couple of extra cards.
So I'm wondering if we want to... Yeah, I guess we want to do it right now. I was thinking about saving it because we know they're on discard spells, but at the same point, we're going to end up in the same boat next turn.
Right. Well, the idea was to be mana efficient so that we have all of the mana available next turn. But And even if they slow down to make us discard, it's faceless looting, so it's not too terrible. We can always flash it back. So.
Excuse me?
Oh wow.
Al, we might be in trouble.
Well, it's the turns though, right?
Well, so, except that you can sacrifice artifacts, creatures, or lands to remove time counters from it.
Oh.
And whenever they sacrifice things, they get to deal 1 damage.
Well, yeah, I guess we might be in trouble.
This might be problematic. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
How do we... I think I want to save this for next turn.
How so? Wait, would...
So, the notion being that we can flashback Faithless Looting?
Oh, in hopes of bringing the Vengevine back?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that 4 on board now is better than, expecting the Vengevine to come back when, it may or may not be the case.
I mean, I suppose that's fair. I also didn't realize that opponent had exiled Sarkhan Vol. Wow.
In control, target creature. Yeah, we're in deep shit, aren't we?
Yeah, this is, we've entered some really dangerous territory here.
Yeah, the good news is that because we have haste, I think that puts the opponent, in a tough spot because they don't know if we have a lightning bolt, right? So.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, if they start dealing damage to these hollow ones to take them off the table, they just activate the Cephalid Coliseum. Correct. Oh, hey. Speaking of activated Cephalid Coliseum. Hey, look, still no basics.
Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 7 cards in the graveyard.
So there's our threshold to activate Coliseum.
Right. We could do it now.
End step. Yeah, I'm thinking about end step.
Right. If we catch a couple of Ruwalas, I guess that would be excellent. But we might want to wait 1 turn, to get the extra card.
Maybe.
I guess there's a case to be made to say, well, but next turn we want to play the Faithless Looting instead. I'm not sure.
So my thought process being that we talked earlier about being mana efficient, right? Like, there are very few things that we're going to draw that we want to keep in hand.
Right. Yeah, my thought is if it's a Ravager or something, that's not something that you want to discard.
Sure.
But, I guess, it depends on how you draw. Well, they wiped the
They sure did.
board, I guess. So how many suspend?
It still has 5 on it.
Okay. So we're going to 9.
I kind of just want to...
Sure. I guess, we can put it to a vote with the chat or something, to see what people think.
My inclination is that we want to cast this because we could theoretically return a Vengevine in their end step and then attack them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try for this because, there's a case to be made that we can still flashback the Faithless Looting next turn.
Right.
And, that way we can do both and dig deeper. And I kind of like that idea.
I mean, yes, I'm going to take 1 more.
Well, if we get a Ruwala, which we can pump, and that's the 3 damage, so we can kill the opponent unless they have a bolt or something.
Well, opponent has a bolt on board with the Greater Gargadon.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Well, we drew a Faithless Looting.
We did draw a
So-
Faithless Looting that I think I want to well, hold on.
Well, yeah. So we have eight additional cards, I guess. In the
We just
Ox
we don't
is
have enough
looking good,
red.
but we don't have the mana for it.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna fire off this Faithless Looting.
Mm-hmm. Well, that wasn't very good. So I guess.
Yep.
that-
I will allow you to triple Stone Rain. Oh, we're gonna do it in response. Okay, good, good. Okay.
We still have a Faithless Looting that we can flashback.
We have two. Three, I'm sorry. We have three that we can flashback.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think we're in pretty okay shape.
So he stacked his lands for
Yep.
to kind of speed things up. So I guess we are.
Okay. Is this now
So
in
you're gonna-
play? Yeah, this is now going to be in play with haste. That's unfortunate.
Oh, he has haste. Okay.
Yeah, suspend. When creatures come off suspend, they gain haste.
Oh. Okay. Well,
Wah.
it was tight though. It was close enough. I say that.
I
we could
agree.
have gotten away with it.
Alright. So again, I like Chain of Vapor here a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because that's how we're going to mop up the Gargadon. I like Lightning Axe. Because the Lightning Axe will deal with the Mayhem Devil.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So how do we feel about the firestorms?
So, the thought process with Firestorm is, for it to kill a Gargadon, we would have to discard an entire hand worth of cards.
Right.
I don't see that as a reality. And the only other thing we're worried about killing is the Mayhem Devil. Which Lightning Axe will do. Because obviously we don't want to kill their Veteran Explorers.
Right. Okay. So what do we take out? I kind of feel like the Ox.
Yep.
It's a little slow. Maybe a number of either Lotus Petal or Deep Analysis. I'm more inclined to the Deep Analysis.
I kind of want to cut that because this lets us go faster than them.
Right, exactly. And so that's why I was leaning more towards that. And we're at 60 cards now, so I guess that's
Perfect.
it.
We'd love to win. Okay.
This had to be a mulligan, I think.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything in a meaningful amount of time.
Yeah, this hand kind of sucks, but we have 2 Careful Studies and the mana to cast them, so I think that we can survive it,
Yeah, and I think that I just want to put one of these...
Yeah.
Put one of these away. Sure.
But a little bit for Taffy, the benefit is that, we have the mana to hardcast the Vengefines, so it's not the end of the world.
Right. Oh. Blue, please.
Yeah,
Yikes.
there's one. We don't want to discard that one, do we?
No.
Probably.
I'm thinking...
So,
is it Lotus Petal Careful Study?
well, the thing is that the Lotus Petal accelerates the Vengefine one turn early.
But it also means
I
that we
don't know
can't
that
cast the
is
following one.
relevant though. Right, exactly. The land will help us the long term, so maybe the Petal and the Study are the way to go.
Yeah, this is... So, and we can still beat this with a Chain of Vapor.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to hope our opponent doesn't Cabal Therapy us.
Right. Yeah.
That's not Cabal Therapy. That's good news. It also doesn't find Cabal Therapy, which is great news. Huh? Well, they found the therapy anyway.
Let's see what they name. So,
Hollow one. Okay.
well, that's good. That
It's
they
not a
got
hollow one.
and we're not doing very well.
No, no.
This is one of the situations in which having the noble hierarchs really help because it gives you the little extra mana, but they also pump your bench mines. If you're attacking with one or a hollow one or something, then that exalted trigger can make a difference. But I think that we have a good plan B here. The fact that we can pump the Wallach too, that helps as well.
Right. So, yikes.
That sucks.
That's not great. Yeah. So the good news is, if this works, we should be able to do this in their end step and get the pump until our turn.
Mm-hmm.
So then if we draw something meaningful in our turn...
We're gonna stipulate and...
Yeah. And still have a 3/3 attacker.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, the good news is that even if we draw the hollow ones, we're gonna have the mana to hard cast them.
Right.
And that is very good for us. So I think that, in the long term, even though it feels like we're getting swamped with lands, I think that...
Oh, okay. That did not work the way I wanted it to work, but okay.
Well, I almost want to do the fetch and thin out a little bit because it feels like we're drawing them all. In fact, we have.
Pretty much, yeah. Greg, how are you? We're playing some Madness, and unfortunately, we ran into Reanimator, followed by... Yikes. Nick Fit. Hey look, no basics. So... Yeah, I mean, that first match started so strong. Al,
Yeah.
I feel like something went so wrong.
All right, it's unfortunate. I think that, in this case, it's a little bit of the variance of the game,
Oh,
plus-
certainly.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can see some gas out of this Ravager.
That's kind of my hope. Okay. So if this finds a red source, they get to cast their Terror of the Peaks. Creature enters the battlefield under your control. Yep. Okay. Sure. So...
This is tough because we're gonna lose the Ravager. The good news is that
we're gonna get another
if
one.
We're gonna discard the hand. We can play the second Ravager for the magnet cost. So
Yep.
I guess there's some good news. But
Okay.
well, we're losing our angers, but. Because we can still play one of the angers by hard casting. Oh, we have another Ravager.
We do. And I think we want to cast the Ravager?
Yeah.
So I think that opponent doesn't have a whole lot going on, so I almost feel like they're supposed to start trying to pressure us with this. But if they do, then our Ravagers get to start going to work. We can also cast one of these Angers before combat on our turn.
That's right.
Start trying to pressure some damage that way. That's a good one. Ooh, yeah, that's going to be problematic. So, Titania, yep, return, sacrifice. Yep, they're going to wipe our board here. Yep, because here comes a 5-3, which triggers, which makes them deal damage. Oh, that's pretty brutal. Titania is one of their last cards is not what we were hoping for. And I think that we're gonna have a hard time finding the right cards to come back from this.
Yeah. Well, there's only so much that we can do, and I would say that these kind of matchups, they haven't been great, but also, they had all the right answers to our threats.
Right. Take one. Okay. So. Yep. Find your basics. Hey, look, we still don't have any. What are you gonna name? So, okay.
Is this our first game? I feel like it is, right?
I think this is the second one because we have Lightning Axe in our deck.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Well, I think we're toast. There's no way that we can come back from this without a graveyard and...
Right. I guess...
And their creatures are bigger than ours,
4, 5, 6, 7. We can't even cast both of our Angers.
Right, and we cannot do the Cephalic Coliseum because we don't have threshold, so...
Right.
There's no way out.
Yeah, I think this is... I think I'm willing to cast an Anger because I think that Lightning Axe is still a card we want to see.
Sure.
So I think that if we were to draw Lightning Axe, that deals with a Terror, and I think that we can start clawing our way back in the game if we can deal with Terror of the Peaks.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like, 5-3 Titania plus, the other token or whatever, it's a lot.
Yeah, another fetch land is definitely not what we were hoping for. This clears the way. 5, 10, 15. Yep, that'll do it. That's the trigger they needed. Well, okay. So, 2-0 into 1-2.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I guess, Reanimator and Nick Fit are not the kind of decks you're hoping to run into when you play this deck. You're definitely hoping for kind of slower, more mid-range, kind of grindier decks, or you're hoping to race other combo decks, and it's very difficult to race Reanimator.
Right. Yeah, I guess I'm surprised that we haven't run into Delver or the Fantaxis or something like that, right? Those are kind of the decks that I was thinking that we would see more of.
So, and I guess that's kind of the double-edged sword of Magic Online is you are likely to run into those decks, but because the player base, right, 357 current active players playing in this league, you could run into any number of things, and you could play 3 leagues in this pool of players, and
they'll all be different.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, I guess, paraphrase Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates, so you never know what you're gonna get.
Pretty much, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the wrong blue card.
Right.
If this was
if that
careful
was,
study.
even if that was a breakthrough, the best that we could do is get two Wallach with haste. So
This I like.
yeah, we have a Faithless Looting, some mana acceleration.
Yeah, and I think I want to bottom the deep analysis.
Yeah, the deep analysis seems like the least useful card here. Man, what the hell? This is game one, right?
Yeah, I know what's up here. So this is one of two decks. This is either, the Curse Stompy Chalice deck, or this is the Mono Black Helm combo deck. Alright. So I'm gonna discard Rootwalla. I'm gonna discard. I kind of want.
Yeah, the anger. I would get rid of the anger because there's no way that we're gonna benefit out of that. Whereas having a 4/3 with haste might save the day.
Yeah, and we also just get to cast this hollow one right here.
Yep.
And then next turn we're attacking for 7. And then 7 more.
Yep. We're hoping to go a little bit faster than they can. So,
right.
We'll say tropical just to ensure that we have. I don't know if they're playing Wastelands or not, but I want to ensure that we have the mana to pump that Rootwalla.
Well, we do have another Tarn in our hand.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
I think I'm more interested in making sure we have red.
Okay.
And I think this is where our opponent casts Sudden Edict. Dark Ritual, okay.
That's unexpected.
Oh, Hagramulling, okay. Yep, so this is definitely Curse Stompy. Yep. Yep. This is about what I would have expected. Okay. And this is all fine. Opponent plans on making a Saga construct. Or not. Great. Construct. Yep. This is fine. So this can get dark. Okay.
Yeah, because they're gonna be 3/3s after his archive, right? For whatever.
Right. Which I think is something I'm okay with. Like we can beat a 3/3.
Well, but he will have 2 3/3s plus whatever.
Right.
Right.
And a 1/1. Okay. Oh, so this is 4. Yep.
Yeah. Now we're in trouble.
Well, I mean, so I think we can just cast this Vengevine.
Yeah.
Or
the Hollow One, I guess.
yeah, and I think Hollow One is a really reasonable cast, so I think I want to just cast this Looting. Discard this. Discard this. Play this. Play this. And then next turn we have the Vengevine.
Right, and we can attack for 8. I guess if they draw another artifact, then or well, they're gonna have another artifact because they can create one.
Right.
So yeah, that's problematic.
So the thing is that what we can do is put a hollow one and a basking root wall in front of a construct and pump and take an artifact off the table.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to decide which threat they want to remove.
Yep.
Ritual. Okay. Ooh, that's very bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yikes. Oh.
Yeah, they got us good. I mean, when I saw the Leyland, I figured, well, this is gonna be a long road, but it's looking even more grim. Uh,
Right, and I don't know. Like, we can cast this Vengevine, but it doesn't even trade with a construct. I think we
Right.
might just pack it in here.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's a world in which we're coming back from that in a meaningful amount of time. But
Right.
this is where all of this artifact hate is going to look very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think that deep analysis is the first thing I want to cut.
Yep. I think even the Ox maybe can go.
I'm just trying to figure out what we want for. Is it Lightning Axe? Is it Firestorm?
Yeah,
I think it's probably Lightning Axe.
I like the Firestorm because you can go wide, but
We
because they grow exponentially, I don't know that is the way that we want to go. So
well,
maybe
so
you're right.
but this does deal X across each target, right?
Right, and
so-
you can choose the opponent as well. So.
Yeah, so I can see that. We can cut the Ox, and then just keep all of this and try to get underneath. Sure. Okay.
Right, and go try to go faster. With all of the extra mana acceleration. So
Right.
We'll see.
Okay. This doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I mean,
If that pedal was a land.
So,
but
this still, we can careful study, discard the 2 root wallas. If we draw into a land, then we have another careful study at the ready.
it's greedy, but I don't know that we're gonna do any better. If we go down to.
And I think I'm going to put
5.
Anji's Ravager down. I think that's the thing we're the furthest from.
Yep.
So, let's pray they don't have the ley line.
Right, and we.
Yikes.
Man.
Alright.
Did they have to mulligan to get it, or they just got it?
It looks like they had it on. It's a card at the bottom. They went to 6.
Okay.
So we're gonna discard, cast. I think I'm just gonna ship the Vengevine away. I don't think that we're gonna get to the Vengevine in an amount of time.
To the 4 mana, yeah.
And then Volcanic Islands. Cast our Hollow One. And just send it. Like, we're gonna start pushing for damage very quickly.
We start pumping with that tropical island, and hoping for the best here, and even if they kill one of them.
Right.
Yeah, we drew another one, so
Right.
I guess that was a good pitch.
Attack for 8. So, and the thing to keep in mind is the opponent's deck is a Soul Land deck, so it is not out of the realm of possibility that they draw an Ancient Tomb that starts speeding up our clock in order for them to make their plays.
Mm-hmm.
There's Chrome Mox. Sure. See what they exile here. A Sudden Edict, okay. There's an Urza's Saga. So that's going to start being some pressure at some point. 3. Oh, okay. This is old tech. This is not common anymore.
So they just cast a 2/3. What does it have? Does it have lifelink? And...
Lifelink, and when it dies, put it on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to go full out here. The Lion's Eye Diamond will let us pump all of the Root Wallas. Press the actual, like, the maximum amount of damage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna... Green? Okay. Opponent agrees. Alright. So... Seeing that...
I don't think that we would change anything. I
don't think so either. I was wondering, do we want more Firestorms now that we've seen that they're on another creature? But I don't think we even need it. I think that, like, the cards that we're scared about are covered by what we have going on. So, and I think we can't dilute our plan too far.
Right.
There's an argument that we could think about cutting Vengevines or an Anger, but...
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, but if they don't have the ley line, then, you know, it's...
Right,
and
right.
I like this a lot because we get to play both Hollow Ones out of this.
Yeah. My other thought was we could discard Anji's Ravager and cast it off the 2 petals.
Yeah, and wait a turn or whatever. Yeah, that... I don't know, I kind of like the Hollow Ones better.
Yeah, that... Sure.
It's 8 on board, and then, you know, we'll wait for the mana for those Ravagers, I guess. But,
Cast.
Because if we go all in on
Wow.
the Ravagers, then, you know, that if they have any removal, then, you know, we're not in good shape, as opposed to they have to answer 2 Hollow Ones this way.
Yeah, I mean, this just puts the clock on them and says, here's 8 damage. Time for you to figure it out. Yeah.
And they always have it.
Of course they do, right? Like,
yeah.
That's kind of one of the... When you play a deck like this, you say, you know, I have to make my opponent have it, and for some reason they always do.
I mean, it kind of feels like they have a pretty good suite of removal anyway.
They do. Oh, we're just pitching Curse. Okay. That's interesting.
But at least we got the 3 mana to get the Ravager. I don't know if we got it now or if we attack first and then...
I think I want to attack first. I want to make them...
Yeah, so that we don't show what we have. And
Right.
if they have some removal, we probably want it to be just on the Hollow One so that we can get 3 cards out of the Ravager's attack, hopefully.
Right. There's a world in which we draw a Mana Source and we get to cast this Vengevine also.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We've drawn a couple of lands sequentially, so I don't know. If
Right. I mean, we're short 2 Lotus Petals here. Like, I understand the odds aren't exactly in our favor, but it's a possibility that's on the table.
Yeah, and we kind of need it like right now because they have this, you know, the engine with the Foundry there kind of going now. So.
Right.
we need to exert the pressure. Unfortunately, that's not what we need.
That's not it at all. Well, I guess we have to. We're gonna make our
Yeah, we
attacks.
have to attack, and you know, I don't think that they're gonna block right now, so that they can generate another artifact next turn.
Right.
And then they'll start blocking. Oh.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Well, we can actually take the careful study, do the Ravager alternate cost, the magnet cost, and do the Ruwala all in one. Or
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at, right? Like,
I kind of like the Ravager a little better because it's gonna have more cards in
Sure.
the long turn, as opposed to having a little bit extra power. The I guess the thing is that if they get another construct or whatever, they're gonna outgrow very fast. But we're hoping to get the value out of the Ravager before they get to that point. Even if they played another Ursa's Saga, they need a couple of turns to make that work. So.
Right. So I think that we're in an okay spot, and opponent's pretty low on resources.
And we get to bump the Ruwala as well, so that's a 6 damage. Next turn plus whatever we can master. If we draw a land, we can. Well, we drew a benchline, I guess. So.
We did, and we're discarding it all anyway, right? So.
Yeah. Well, Asian Grunge is fantastic. I would use it almost like right now, and get rid of that Retrofeeder Foundry and play.
I kind of just want to smash the Chromox, if I'm being honest. Like, opponent missed a land drop there, right?
Yeah,
so
the moment that they draw a land, they start creating servos. I don't know.
Well, but so they can create a servo now and block, but I think if we grudge them now.
I don't know that I like the Stone Rain versus getting rid of the.
This is why, right?
And that is on an adventure as well.
So this is my thought: is if we keep them off of mana as long as possible. I guess let's let this finish. If they make a construct, we can. Like, we knew they were going to make something.
Right.
We're not pressed to do anything this turn if we don't want to. So, like, we can just pump this if we want. Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Because what this does now is now we can just play the other Rootwalla.
Mm-hmm.
And next turn we can grudge something. And kind of set up for the future.
Right.
Okay, there's Ritual. Sure. Curse, you got it.
So they got the land, so I think that kind of reassured me on the idea of getting rid of that.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put them to 2. And then their game plan is probably to Overwhelming Splendor. I don't think that they have a win necessarily if we go for it, right? So
if we attack, we lose what we have in hand. So we need to decide whether we want to Ancient Grudge
right.
now, because we cannot do the flashback because of the ley line. My vote is to
grudge.
To grudge the Foundry.
I want a second green source, I think. No, I have 2 green sources. I guess I want a Vault here. So, grudge this. So this is them taking 7, they go to 4. Well, we found another grudge anyway.
Another grudge plus the Firestorm as well. So, even if they created something along the way, we could potentially kill anything with power up to 3 or whatever, right?
So that's Curse of Death's Hold. Okay. So that was the alternate plan that I thought about. There's that, sure.
So now we can kill that by.
We just killed them. We would like they're dead.
So we need to choose up to three targets, right? So you can do one to the Ravager, one to the
No,
Rider,
so it deals
and one
3 to all.
So if we choose us, we kill them, right? We
Yep.
can choose us.
That's what I've done. Yep.
Yep.
And opponent's last 2 cards need to be Edict plus Dark Ritual.
And the suspense is killing me.
Right, right. So if opponent's last 2 cards aren't exactly Dark Ritual into Edict, or Dark Ritual into Removal Spell, we win.
If they have it, they're slow balling it quite a bit. But,
Right, right. Hey.
There you go. They were just.
Okay. So
Well,
that puts.
We salvaged that. So
Yeah.
That's good.
We stitched that one back together, and that's a rough.
We came back from a first game loss, so that is pretty good too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of explosive potential to the shell, and you can just kind of get out underneath a lot of what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, I think that there's definitely something to this, and again, part of this, I think, I don't have a lot of experience playing something like this, playing something so aggressive and where you're simultaneously managing like half a dozen resources, right? What's in my graveyard? What's in my hand? What can I be drawing that works with those tools?
Yeah, the statistics can be a little daunting, with what are my chances of drawing what I'm looking for.
So this looks excellent.
I like it quite a bit because we can, if we draw a Ruwala, we're in business here.
Right. I want to keep this. Okay. Lotus Petal.
They probably think that we're in show and tell up until we show that Lion's Eye Diamond.
Gonna play this. So do we looting first?
I think that we want to do the Faithless looting first, just to see what we can get.
So we discard Vengevine Ox.
And the Vengevine I save, right? And then we play the petal. Yep. Out of one of the petals, we
careful study.
We careful study, and we're hoping to find the second, like a Walla or something.
Even another Anji's Ravager
maybe
does
an extra Vengevine, or even a hollow one would be great because we did carry 4 cards.
I mean, even another Anji's Ravager does it because we have the Lion's Eye Diamond in the petal. There it is.
Right. Well, we got a deep analysis on a Ruwala, so I guess, we discard those, and
I'm gonna keep the deep analysis.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're gonna discard it anyway, but.
Right. We're in a hurry, and now.
Well, actually, hold on. We can crack Lion's Eye Diamond for blue and Petal for red, and then do both.
I guess we could.
I mean, I guess it one way or the other doesn't particularly matter, but yeah. So we can crack for red. Yes, please. Deep analysis, us, crack for blue. I
think this turn one kind of shows, I think this is turn one, right? It kind of shows the power of loaded pedal in this deck.
Oh, absolutely. Like I wasn't sold on the notion at first, but this has been pretty absurd.
And then now if we get like a discard spell or whatever, and we got like a hollow one or something.
Whoa.
Oh, a stifle knot? Oh wow, this is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in forever. Um,
So
but that's fun.
I guess now here's the cute one, right? We have Threshold. We can just crack Colosseum immediately.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So this just kind of lets us put the anger into the
Dig
graveyard.
deep and hope for the best. Oh, hollow ones. Now we haven't discarded.
We have
Have we? Oh, we have discarded that. Yeah, because of the
Colosseum.
Excellent.
Yep.
Don't mind me.
No, you're right.
The Colosseum is perfect.
The Colosseum was very, very strong.
Yeah, and they have haste, so.
Yeah,
this
opponent
gonna
is in a pretty rough spot here.
And we get to draw 3 cards out of the Ravager too.
Yep. And I think like this is what 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So opponent has to block a thing, and then still take. Oh, Force of Will. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean we're going in.
Yeah, I mean they just have 2 cards left, and we have a lot of power on board, so.
Okay.
Well, that's fantastic because we can play the second Ravager right now.
We can. Yep, we can absolutely just cast the second Anji's
Out
Ravager.
of the LAD. So I would. Do we have any Faithless Looting? We have a Faithless Looting there, but I don't know that we want to do that right now.
Right.
I like the Ravager better.
My apologies. The Stream Decker is actually not up to date. So we kind of modified this list a little bit at the beginning of the stream. So the list we're playing, I'm about to flash on screen here. We are playing a modified version of Rug Madness. So we have Deep Analysis, we have Lotus Petal, we have Cut Once Upon a Time, and we have Cut Gamble. What else did we cut, Al?
We cut the basic mountain for a Taiga, I believe.
Yep, we did. We also cut Breakthrough.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, for the deep
Breakthrough is
analysis.
the other cut. Thank you, Hizura. Yeah, so we did touch on this at the beginning of the stream. Long before the existence of Blazing Rootwalla and Anji's Ravager and Oxyvagonus, my guest here, Al, was playing a Rug Dak Faden Vengevine Hollow One style madness-like deck. And so this is... Oh, nice. They're going to block the Ravager too.
Mhm.
Alright. We're going to cast
Yeah,
this.
this is excellent.
We're going to make red.
Yeah, and we can pump the Rootwalla too, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've already dealt our damage,
I
but...
mean, we already dealt the damage, but yeah, forgive us.
So, opponent's in a pretty rough spot here. They have to... There's a lot of things they've got to deal with in a right hurry.
I wonder if they're playing a Standstill as well in this deck.
I mean, it would make some sense. I've definitely seen people playing around with that notion, but it's weird for me because you always want to be able to stifle the Dreadnought, but yeah, it's so good with Saga, and Standstill being so good with Saga. I'm very curious.
I like that, where our opponent is playing there.
I agree.
It's at least the concept is interesting, and it's definitely a very good card to fetch with Ursa Saga if you have the stifle effect.
Right. So that
hurts a little, but we have such a person on board
that
if they
technically
wake
does
us,
that.
and almost applauding.
Yeah,
So,
that technically does something, but I don't know that does enough in this current position.
I mean, we had a turn one that was bananas, and we had a very good follow up too. So
Interesting. So that doesn't
they can create a like a servo or something and have two blockers, but we still have lethal, I think.
right. I don't think that there's an out for them to this.
Right, plus we're gonna see three new cards, which we don't know if they're gonna be good or not, but
Right.
yeah, that's turn one was bananas. It's was very good.
So definitely want Meltdown. Definitely want Ancient Grudge.
Yeah, I like the Pyroblast too.
I don't hate the Pyroblast. I'm just wondering if that's too many cards.
Yeah, maybe Chain of Vapors instead of the Pyroblast. I don't know. Because
Maybe?
how many Stifles are they gonna have, right?
Right. So I think Deep Analysis can go.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty easy one. We can shave the Ox of Agonis.
Yep.
But looking at this, I can't think of two cards I want to cut. So do we just cut out two of these Pyroblasts and say that's good enough? Or is our game plan to slow down, cut two Lotus Petals?
I guess we could cut
Or two Lion's Eye Diamonds?
so some of the acceleration. I don't know. There's such good solid cards. Maybe an Anger.
Okay.
3 might be too much. I'm not sure. And we still have to cut one more. Maybe one of the Pyroblast at that point, right?
Okay.
And
Sure, I can see it. So
worst case, if we're not using them, we can discard them with whatever
right.
shenanigans we're playing. So I'm not too worried about having some deck cards. Because we can get rid of them.
Al's original list played Street Wraith. However, with 8 Root Wallas now, and kind of the way that this deck has shifted, it's really just not necessary anymore. You have enough of an engine. So this hand doesn't do anything proactive.
No.
But we have the Meltdown and the Pyroblast. And I think we have to ship it.
Yeah, this is much better.
This is gas, right? Yeah, this looks great. What are we putting down here?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So because we have the Lotus Petal, I'm inclined to keep the Ravager. But then I'm not sure if we bought on a land or what, because we want the Ruwala and the Benchmine. We don't have the second creature to bring the Benchmine though.
So what if we just ship one of the lands?
It's tricky. Maybe we want to keep the land and ship the Lotus Petal because the land is repeatable, right?
Okay, sure. My thought process being that
I mean, we've seen that they have Wasteland, right? So
yes.
I'm concerned that the Petal is just one use and we're down. Well,
so
that changes things,
right?
If
right.
The Petal, we could have done 2 Faithless Lootings or whatever, but
red. What do we got? Days. Okay.
Okay. Well, it's good that we got the second one, right? So,
right.
And if we go long, we can always flash them back, so it's not the end of the world. We're setting them back a little bit, so that's good.
Right.
Well, they change things completely, right?
I agree. We're gonna cast this Lion's Eye Diamond and see what happens.
We can play the Faithless Looting just for giggles, but we know that we're playing. We're getting at least a Ravager and a Ruwala to bring the Benchmine back. So, I mean, if this resolves.
Right.
Yeah. And
so the argument here is we could just We could just flashback the looting.
Yeah, and hope.
Well,
Yeah,
so
hope.
we still have the 2 mana for Ravager, and we have Root Walla.
Right, and if we get another Benchmine, it's
Right.
a better effect. So I agree. We can do that.
All right, we just get to do that now. All right, cast this. Yield. Yes. Okay. So, I think what we're actually looking for off this looting is anger. I think,
Right.
yeah, flipping
Yeah.
over an anger would be
Well, we
absolutely
took
absurd.
one out, I think. So we only have 2, but
Right.
still, we're seeing some cards. So, and worst case, well, the Ravager would be next turn. When
Right,
that
right.
happens,
So, opponent is pausing again here. I wonder if
Right,
they're
yeah. If I was him, I would force of will this or do something about it. But
right.
we still have the ability to pump those with Wallace and attack for 10 next turn. So
Yep.
it's a 2-turn clock.
So there's the force. Oh, pitching a dress
Right.
down. Okay. So opponent is also on dress down to go with their.
Right. I mean, if they don't do that, we're getting 3 extra cards, right? So, man, that's just amazing.
Yep.
That was incredible.
Just flip 2 more. Let's keep going.
Look at that storm count.
Right.
Just for fun.
Oh, John, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the gifted subs. Yeah, like now we're in a position where opponent is on a very, very quick clock.
Right.
Like, this is where we get the beautiful F6 value, and we just kind of get to hang out, and whatever happens, hey,
There you go.
there we go. L.
Well, that was pretty solid, I think.
Oh yeah.
We had some bad matchups. We got unlucky with those, like turn 1 Leyline of the Void. Like
Right. Right.
on game 1. But I guess from the type of things that you can get on these colors, I think that this is a pretty decent build. We haven't played the one with the other cards in them.
Sure.
We haven't tested the breakthroughs and those.
So and that's I guess where my head goes is we did cut deep analysis often.
Well, in some games we did, right? But in others, it gave us gas.
Oh, yeah.
So
But
it's
once
kind of hard to tell.
Sure. My
You
thought
know,
is that once we went to sideboards, deep analysis was often the first card we were looking to cut. So I wonder if maybe we should be looking at turning these maybe into another Ox and 2 breakthroughs.
I didn't like the Ox that much.
Okay.
Because you saw that we had difficulty with the 2 red. The double colors, it can get tricky. I guess I'm more partial to try out the breakthroughs.
Okay.
Than I am to try out the
Another Ox.
whatever the green card was.
Oh, Once Upon a Time.
Yep. So yeah, but I think that this is a good build.
Yeah.
We struggle with larger creatures than ours, and these aren't really colors good, well known for excellent removal choices.
Right.
I think there's some green card that it's an instant and it's just 1 green mana and it destroys destroy a creature that flies. I think it's from the core set 2021.
Oh, Clip Wings?
I'm not sure what the name is. I know that it exists, so maybe because we struggled.
Nope. Okay. That's not the one.
It's
Each opponent sacrifices a creature with flying for 1 and a green.
right. No, this one is Jack One Green is instant, and it's from Core 2021. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And
Interesting. So let's
maybe we can look in the Gatherer or something, to
right.
look for it.
Tell you what, there's a green. Then we set to mana value of exactly one.
One exactly, yeah.
Yep, and then set. You said you think it's from Core 2021?
Yeah, and it's an instant.
Well, that doesn't set the mana value to 1 for sure. Oh, because that sets the whole. Life goes on. Portcullis Vine. Run afoul.
Yeah,
Run
that's what
afoul.
it is.
Okay. Sure.
And,
so that's going to deal with Merit Lage, Emrakul. Yeah. Run afoul is the one, Connor. Thank you.
Yep. So that one is pretty good because it takes care of Griselbrand. That new from
Archon,
Horizon
yep.
to whatever that 6/6 flyer that shenanigans. That take care of that too. So I think that maybe that's a card that maybe we want to include a couple of copies of in the sideboard.
Sure.
Just for certain matchup like that. I didn't feel like Lightning Axe was that good. But maybe we just didn't run into
the right matchup.
Maybe we had run into something like the Shadow, and they were playing instead of that Scourge of the Kyclapes or whatever. Instead of that, they are playing the Gorp Angler. Then Lightning Axe is pretty good because that is exactly the fight that you need, right? So I guess it can be a little bit meta dependent. I don't know that 3 Firestorms. That might be a little too extra.
Sure.
Because typically you don't have that many cards in hand, right? But it saved our bacon in one of the games, so maybe it's, it has some providence. Having multiple extra copies of it. 15 cards is just such a tight spot that you kind of have to let some of the things go. But yeah, definitely I think that we would have been in better shape if we had access to that run afoul or whatever. But yeah, other than that, I think I don't think that we struggle too much. Maybe having a couple of kind of disenchant type of effect, like Nature's Claim or
Okay.
what's the other one? There's some other card that does the same thing. It was from one of the recent printings too, and it does 3 effects. So one of them is exile a card from a graveyard, which it would have helped with Reanimator.
Yeah, Return to Nature.
Yeah, I think that's the one. And then it can destroy an artifact or an enchantment, so it gives you a lot of flexibility. In that spot, having a 2 mana cost, might be a little tricky, but given the flexibility, I think it might be worth it.
Right.
So I think those were kind of the type of effects that we were struggling a little bit to find. But maybe altering some of these. Maybe instead of that memory journey, we do the return to nature to kind of compact up a little bit the graveyard, and maybe replacing those lightning axes or maybe a combination of lightning axe and firestorm. We get to include those those other cards, the run afoul or whatever. So
yeah, so I think that the one thing that we didn't run into with Memory's Journey that I think is kind of a big deal is Doomsday. The fact that Memory's Journey puts the cards back into their library is a big deal against Doomsday. So we just finished, Greg. We finished 3 and 2. But yeah, so the Memory's Journey having alternate mode against Doomsday, I think that's why that card is there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder, I'm a little hesitant to replace that specifically.
So is Doomsday a very like a mainstay?
Yep, it's very very popular now. The printing of Thassa's Oracle made that deck quite a big deal. So yeah, I think that being able to combat Doomsday in some way is kind of a big game.
Necessary. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Well, those are the thoughts, I guess, that I had. You know, maybe have a little bit more flexibility against the enchantment and artifact.
Right.
You know, maybe we replace, you know, some of the effects with those kind of cards. I don't know if you saw anything else that maybe we haven't mentioned that we were struggling with. Um,
So I'm just thinking, we talked about replacing 2 of the deep analysis with 2 breakthrough, and then the run afoul instead of lightning axe.
yep.
I think beyond that, like, this looks pretty good. We have chain of vapor. Like, that's going to answer some problematic stuff. Zara, thank you so much for the follow. So run afoul is going to clean up, again, the flyers, the Grizzlebrands, the Emeralds, the Archons of the world. Chain of Vapor can clean up all sorts of other troublesome nonsense. Memory's Journey being both graveyard hate for Reanimator and hate for Doomsday, I think, is a big game. And then Firestorm, Pyroblast, Ancient Grudge, Meltdown to kind of mop up all sorts of other various shenanigans between Hate Bearers and Urza Saga Construct tokens. Hizera Breakthrough was part of the original list that we based this our version on. And Breakthrough because there are a lot of times when you just want to go very quickly. So on turn 1, you can play a Lion's Eye Diamond, play a land, cast a Breakthrough for, 0, discard Vengevines and, Root Wallas or Anji's Ravager. The Lion's Eye Diamond will cast the Ravager, and then everything else brings back the Vengevines, and you just get to start going very, very, very aggressive very quickly. So that's the notion with Breakthrough. It's a card that lets you be very explosive.
Mm-hmm. So on the Chain of Vapor, given the type of permanents that it gets rid of, sure, we can bounce some of the Reanimator creatures, back to their hand and whatnot. But I wonder, if maybe, because they can copy it too, right? They could bounce some of our stuff up.
Right.
I wonder if maybe instead of Chain of Vapor, running that, naturalize, plus, exile something from the graveyard.
Oh, sure.
Might be an alternative.
Okay. So Return to Nature over the Chain of Vapor.
Chain of Vapor.
So put 2 of these in. So now, I guess the other question is, do we like Return to Nature better because it hits a graveyard target? Or there's another version that instead of exiling that, it's called Wilt, and it cycles. So it's a disenchant that cycles.
I see. So that is interesting. I don't know that we have 2 mana typically to spare to, because we want to go so fast.
Sure.
I kind of like the idea of being able to be more solid against Reanimator, given the total struggle that we have, because we didn't win any games against Reanimator, right?
Right.
We got obliterated on both. So I think that having a little extra might be beneficial, and I don't know that Return to Nature is what we want either, because maybe even running. What's the name of it? The one that it's like you pitch like a Force of Will kind of thing.
The Force of Vigor
cost. Maybe that might be a good choice instead of that. I was kind of hoping to get some type of effect that would destroy enchantment, and that's why I was thinking of that card. But
so my worry
Force
with
of Vigor in creature form, it's never mind. The one that I was thinking was the other one, Endurance. For
the graveyard hate. Yeah.
But Force of Vigor is a pretty good alternative. Just for the fact that you can cast it for free.
Right, and so Connor just touched on one of my concerns, and that's I don't know that our green count would be high enough for either Force of Vigor or Endurance.
Ideally, you need 17, and we are very short of that. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but I do think something like Return to Nature that's a little more flexible is interesting. I do wonder if maybe it's just supposed to be Nature's Claim, because we're trying to go so quickly. If a card like Nature's Claim just has more value to us, but I'm not sure.
It gives them 4 life though, and we are trying to win, with combat damage.
Yep,
So
it's true.
that is something to keep in mind. But yeah, I guess it is, is the cost benefit, having to pay an extra colorless, for being able to remove one card out of a graveyard, enough to justify. Um,
I mean, this definitely seems like something we could test again in the future, though, with the breakthroughs and the return to natures and the run of fouls, and just kind of see what happens. So that's definitely a direction we could go in.
I guess the other card that we were open for discussion that was removed was
The Once Upon a Times.
yeah, that's it. So I don't know how you feel about those.
So while I do like Once Upon a Time, the Lotus Petals were very good tonight. Like very, very, very good. And I think that we got so many more explosive turns because we had both Lion's Eye Diamond and Lotus Petal.
Mhm.
So I wonder if that we just don't need them now. Because like that last game, our opening hand didn't have lands. We just had Lotus Petal. And we Lotus Petal cast Careful Study, dug into land to cast another thing. And like that was just good enough. So I'm kind of on board with this Lotus Petal notion. I really am.
Yeah, Lotus Petal I think was one of the MVPs, of the night.
Right.
I think that the combination of LAD plus Lotus Petal with the Ravagers is just amazing, and the fact that the opponent didn't force of will some other things, but they did force of will, the Ravagers. That kind of shows the power of that card. I mean, getting 3 cards every turn and enabling you to have a discard engine. If you didn't play everything that you had in hand. That is very powerful, in a Hollow One deck with bench finds and stuff. So I think this is looking very good. Like I said, I'm not sure how I feel about the Ox. Maybe that could be some other card. Maybe a Firestorm, a singleton, just to have something to answer certain situations that maybe you otherwise wouldn't be prepared for.
Sure.
But
yeah, what I do like about the Ox is there some amount of the time it's going to be your 5th one-shot Anji's Ravager, right? Like some amount of the time you're going to put the Ox into play, you're going to make a 5/3, and you're going to draw 3 cards, and that's going to be okay. Like there are just going to be situations where that does come up. I think that we didn't run into them very often. Because some of the lines we took favored green mana over red mana, and some of the lines that we took also didn't necessarily put us in a position where we were fueling our graveyard fast enough.
And we didn't see the Ox other than that time in which we didn't have the right mana to cast it, right? So
that's also the case.
The other impediment, I guess, to that card is that 8 cards in your graveyard is a lot. When you're bringing back, bench finds and doing, like flashing back, like Faithless Looting and Deep Analysis, you might not even get that many cards, like 8 is a lot to ask for, right? So even with fetches and all that, and the Coliseums, it might get tricky to get to that number. Threshold, was one of the things that we were looking at, and we didn't always have it.
Sure, I can see that. Like there's definitely some tension between Cephalid Coliseum and Ox of Agonis, right? Like this card wants you to remove cards from your graveyard. This card wants your graveyard to be stacked. So I definitely see where you're at with that. And I mean, it wasn't uncommon that we were trying to flash back Faithless Looting. So that we're going to remove that from our graveyard. We're going to remove Vengevine. Like, a lot of this stuff isn't going to stay in our graveyard very long. We're going to remove Deep Analysis without, needing to get rid of it with Ox. So I could see that.
So, I guess two thoughts here. So one thought would be replacing the Ox with a second Deep Analysis, just because we're going to have that breakthrough now that is going to wipe our hand most of the time.
Sure.
So that we can recover. The other thought, there's some Izzet charm or something that does like a spell pierce. It's like a multi-mode
Yeah,
card, and it does like a spell pierce. Discard two or draw two, discard two, and it has some other effect. And I don't know if it's drawing artifact or something. So maybe.
so it deals 2 damage to target creature.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I was hoping that maybe it would be so wholesome that it would destroy artifact too. Given the
Sure.
the amount of artifacts that we've seen tonight. But that is another card that maybe we could look at including. If we don't like deep analysis and the Ox, um, just to have a little bit more of draw and discard effect. I'm more. You can probably tell that I'm in love with deep analysis. I just think that is such a great card.
Sure.
But
So I guess another thing we could talk that we haven't brought up yet, another notion that kind of works in this vein is Merchant of the Veil. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Okay. So this is the one from Throne of Eldraine. You can play it from your hand as the instant version for a single red. And if you do, you discard 1 and then draw 1. And then it has a repeatable effect for 2 in a red, if you cast it as a creature for 3 mana, that you can pay 3 mana, discard, and draw a card.
Yep.
So this is a repeatable discard outlet should we need it. Mind you, it's a little mana intensive.
Right. I alluded to this earlier. There's some vampire. It's just one red mana and it's a 1/1, and you can Insolent Neonate or something like that. I think it's called. And so that one requires you to discard first and then you draw. I was playing the blue version instead of this one.
Yep.
Which is the hapless researcher, and that one, it's the same thing. 1 blue, for a 1/1, and you can sack it, but you get to draw first and then you discard, which I prefer. Because it gives you better flexibility. You have more facts, right? You have 1 extra card to know what to discard better, and so the other copy, is the one that I was using in my build years ago, the hapless researcher.
So the only reason I mention Merchant of the Veil specifically is because in the early game it's 1 mana to do it once, right? And then in the late game it's a body that we can cast to help trigger Vengevine, and it's a repeatable outlet where we can discard something like a Rootwalla or what have you to get a new card.
And it was bigger than a 1/1, right? It was like
it's a 2/3. Yep.
Yep.
So that was kind of my notion with that. Again, I'm not sure that that's exactly what we're looking for, but something like that seems interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna. Well, Al, I won't keep you too much longer. We've been at this for 2.5 hours.
All right.
And
we're pretty fast though, if
you're not wrong.
It's about 3 hours, it was pretty fast.
Yeah. So Al, thank you again for joining me, and thank you everyone for watching this evening. We do appreciate your time on this delightful, almost winter Friday evening. So Al, maybe you and I will do this again in the future and play this new build with the breakthroughs and the run afoul and the return to nature.
I hope so. It was fun. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, absolutely, Al. As I said, we'll definitely do it again in the future. And again, thank you everyone for the follows and the subscriptions tonight. If you are Winds of Change, probably not. It shuffles. So that's that. I think Winds of Change is kind of problematic. It puts cards into your deck. But again, thank you everyone for watching tonight. Thank you for your follows and subscriptions. It really does mean a lot to me. If you are interested in supporting the stream or my content in any way, one of the big things I keep telling people is if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, which means you get 1 free subscription every month. Yes, Travis, Bezos bucks. If you are not using your Bezos bucks elsewhere, please feel free to send them my way. It's greatly appreciated. I am meeting with a local artist to design some channel emotes tomorrow. And we're going to start working on some channel point goals as well. So, we're looking to build a community here. So please stick around. I do also have a YouTube, which I keep forgetting to add to my overlay, because I'm really good at this. But I will promise you that within the next 24 hours, I will put that up on my Twitch page. It's also available on my social media, so you can watch content that you may have missed through YouTube. So again, thank you so much for coming out, everybody. Again, Al, thank you so much for joining us, and you all have a good night.
Take care, you too.